Hello and welcome to another day as we ponder Holy Week. My name is Craig McCord. I'm the pastor at New Creation Lutheran Church, and I am delighted that you took this opportunity to spend some time with us today. We've been looking at Jesus' ministry during his last week on earth. We welcomed him into town on Sunday and hailed him as Messiah. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Palm branches were strewn his way. Crowds were excited. The disciples were excited. And then on Monday, we saw him overturn the tables of the money changers and chase them out and declare that to be a house of prayer. People were probably excited about that too. Seeing Jesus take some action, seeing the racketeering that was going on there maybe finally coming to an end. The disciples, no doubt, were even more excited. And now Tuesday comes, and Jesus again returns to Jerusalem from Bethany. Throughout this week, most scholars believe that in the evening he would leave Jerusalem. He would go down through the Mount of Olives, through the Garden of Gethsemane, and the Kidron Valley, and up to Bethany. And then the next day he would come from Bethany and down through the Kidron Valley and the Garden of Gethsemane at the Mount of Olives and back up into Jerusalem. And so this Tuesday was no exception. He travels again from Bethany back to Jerusalem. And that's where our text picks up today. Mark chapter 11. They arrived again in Jerusalem, and while Jesus was walking in the temple courts, the chief priests and the teachers of the law and the elders came to him. "By what authority are you doing these things?" they asked. "And who gave you the authority to do this?" Jesus replied, I will ask you one question. Answer me this, and I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. John's baptism, was it from heaven or from men? Tell me. They discussed it among themselves for a while and said, if we say from heaven, he will ask, then why didn't you believe him? And if we say from men, well, they feared the people, for everyone held that John really was a prophet. So they said the only thing they could say. They answered Jesus and said, we don't know. Jesus said, well, neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things. Jesus' answer did not indicate at all that he didn't know. He was fully aware that his authority came from the Father who had sent him. His authority came as his sonship, as the heir of eternity, as God incarnate come to earth. He knew where his authority came from. So did the scribes and the Pharisees, I think, while they were hard-pressed to admit it. They had heard about his miracles, the miraculous things he had done. Some of them, no doubt, had even witnessed some of his miracles themselves. They probably had even heard him give thanks to the Father for the work that he was doing. The disciples probably were very encouraged by this. Once again, first the parade, then the overturning of the money, and now stumping the religious leaders. Boy, this was a week. They were excited. Well, that evening, another event happened in the life of Jesus. For this, we turn to Matthew's Gospel as we take a look at this second dramatic event that happened on Tuesday. Matthew begins, while Jesus was in Bethany at the home of a man known as Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. Why this waste, they asked. This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor. Aware of this, Jesus said to them, why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. I tell you the truth, wherever this gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. What a legacy is that? Wherever the gospel is preached around the world, for thousands of years, this story will be told in memory of her. I hope that we today, as Christians in this world, at this time of COVID-19, of being sheltered and sequestered and separated from one another, I hope that we will leave a legacy that people will say, the Christians, they did well. They supported one another. They encouraged one another. They reached out to their community. They made a difference in this time. I hope that wherever the gospel is preached for years to come, they will speak well of us and the legacy that we left. But also in this text, we find Jesus trying to call his disciples back to reality a little bit. He no doubt knew what was going on in their mind, the excitement they probably were feeling so far this week, and he also knew what was really happening. I think that's why he shared with them, when she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. He knew what was coming. They were all excited about his challenges, about the reception of the people. But he knew. He knew this was a heavy week for him. He knew the burden that lay ahead of him. I think he was trying to ground his disciples once again. I was speaking with someone this morning and they said, it just doesn't feel like Holy Week. It just feels like any other week. It's hard. We have to be intentional, especially in this time when we are sequestered, when we are alone with our family and we're not having the same kind of interaction, and we weren't together on Palm Sunday, and we won't be together on Maundy Thursday. I hope that you're taking time to really reflect on this week. I hope that you will begin to see, as Jesus does, the weight of this week in his life. For when she poured this perfume on his body, she did it to prepare him for burial. I hope that this has helped preparing you on your Lenten journey. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a comment or question about anything we've talked about, please get a hold of us. We also would love to have you subscribe to our YouTube channel where you've watched this video so you can be notified when we post more videos. And we'll be back tomorrow as we look at the Wednesday of Holy Week and what was happening in the life of Jesus on that day. Thanks for joining us today. God's blessings on your journey into Holy Week. This is Pastor Craig signing off.